Hello, I'm Laura Simons. I'm currently council president at OLLI at Southern Oregon University. And today I'm thrilled to be able to talk to three of our members who are also volunteers and to hear from them about their experience here at OLLI and being a volunteer. So, three people are Kathy Kreisman, Joyce Avery, and Cliff Edwards. So, I'd like to start with Kathy. How long have you been an OLLI member and how long an OLLI volunteer?
I've been a member since shortly after we moved into the area in about 2017. My in-laws and my father-in-law specifically have been great proponents of OLLI and its programs. My father-in-law was a founder. One was called Solar. Um, and so I became interested in taking classes there for almost immediately, I think. I started volunteering within the classroom when they had hosts, and I was approached about joining the board. And after an informational session, I decided I really didn't know much about what the board was doing. and I ended up having a talk with the then volunteer coordinator who offered some options. And the first option was training the teachers on the classroom computers. And since I have a strong history in that sort of thing, I bounced on it right away. And so I started doing that by myself, and it grew and grew. It was a real challenging thing. We were working on Mac computers at the time, and I I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of the setup, but I could get people running, I guess. I was arranging and contacting teachers on my own and setting up appointments on my own until a certain point where it just became too much. I had like 400 email messages I was trying to manage, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And so at that point, Lorraine Vale had started up our technology and venue committee and made some dramatic changes. And we brought in Marta, who has been a real godsend, in my view, and has helped us become much more efficient. Brought in Joyce, and I know Cliff has been helping all along. He and others were great support to me when I was training. And so now I'm one of three trainers. I enjoy that possibility.
Great. And the three of you are the three trainers.
Mhm.
Cliff, how
Yes,
about you when you became a member and a volunteer here?
I joined in 2007 when it was still the solar program, Southern Oregon Learning and Retirement. And I joined because I wanted to teach a course on the oil industry during the Katrina aftermath. And I'd had a lot of people asking questions about what's going on. So I taught the first course in January of 2008. So very shortly after I joined, I became a volunteer. I was asked at that point to run for council and was elected to council and stayed until 2010 to 11 when I served as president. And I have not stopped volunteering since. I just can't help myself.
And we're so thankful for that. And Joyce, how about you?
Well, my husband and I relocated to Ashland from the Bay Area in February of 2020, right before the lockdown. So I kind of gravitated to OLLI and took a couple courses on Zoom. Really enjoyed them, and was approached after that about running for council. And I immediately said, no, I'm brand new. I don't know anything, but I was encouraged to run anyway. and was elected to council after being in Ollie for about a year. And that, it's been a steep learning curve, but I think I've made it through. I really have a good sense of what's going on with Ollie at this point. And I started looking for other opportunities. One of my tasks on the council was to liaison with the curriculum committee, and that's where I first came in contact with Kathy, and I was just hearing about how overwhelming her job was. And I kind of stood up and said, I can help. And that's been great. So, it's in some ways been a real rocket ride, but very, very fulfilling as well. And I'm glad I've done it.
That's great. So related to the question of being an Ollie volunteer, some of you may have already touched upon this, but I'm wondering what motivated you to be a volunteer. I'm always curious why people volunteer in general for any organization. What was that motivation? Cliff?
Yeah, as I said before, the motivation initially was to be an instructor. And I continued to teach other courses as well. But it also came along about the time we got the Osher endowment, or the first contributions from the Osher folks. So it became very important to me to shepherd that through as well during my time on council.
Okay. Joyce, what motivated you?
Well, Ollie's an educational organization, and I'm a retired educator. And my whole life, I've been passionate about learning and classroom and school. And it was just a real natural fit. And then I think it's just my personality. I really like to get involved.
Mhm.
So that was basically it. The school education, all about learning. I mean, it was right in my wheelhouse.
Definitely was. Kathy, what was your motivation?
Well, mine's a little softer, I guess. My my in-laws were so involved with Ollie. I was real interested in becoming involved with them. And as I said, I don't know, volunteering is part of what I wanted to do. I was retired. I wanted to help where I could, and this seemed like a great place to do it.
All good answers, everybody. Um, in the time that you've been a volunteer here at Ollie at SOU, is there one really high point in your volunteer time that really stands out? Joyce?
One point, I don't know if I could reduce it to that. I think it's just the process of working on the curriculum committee and coming into contact with so many of the instructors and amazing classes they're teaching. My work on the tech committee, and in training, I get to meet a lot of teachers and talk to them about their classes. And, that's just made me appreciate the organization all the more.
Yeah. Kathy, do you have a high point in your time so far? Hopefully there's more
Um,
here too.
I've always loved training, loved training. My last job at Mount Hood Community College was training unemployed folks, and I just it was the job of a lifetime for me. I loved it, and doing what I'm doing now is just expanding on that. I enjoy working with teachers just like the other two do, and help. Sometimes I can help them make their class a little better, and that's great too. you know, and they're such a gracious bunch. They're really a great bunch.
Cliff, do you have a high point you want to share?
Yeah, I have the same problem that Joyce does of trying to limit it to one. The first one was the Neosher endowments when they came along, because we went from 650 members to over 1,200 in a matter of 3 years. Then the second one is what happened back in 2020 or 2019, actually, is when it started in the classroom renovation project. Lorraine and I were tasked with looking at our classrooms to understand what are the needs that we have and what can be done to make them more suitable. And that ran the gambit from looking at why classes are oversubscribed, to optimizing the layout, getting funding from internal and external sources, uh, worked with the university to contract an architect, and the construction firm helped to oversee that construction, and also the development of the technology that we currently have in the classrooms. So it was a full gambit process, and I think very successful in the long run.
I agree, very successful. Um, some of you have probably already touched upon what my next question is about. Um, but for me, it's why do I keep volunteering here at Ollie? Because there's so many other places that I could be spending my time. And sometimes I do divide it up among one or two other organizations. So some of you have been here for a number of years. Obviously, what's keeping you volunteering here when there's a lot of competition out there and you could be somewhere else? Kathy, you want to answer first?
Well, I am I am volunteering somewhere else, just one other place, and that's about as much as I can do right now, frankly. I just enjoy doing what I'm doing at Ollie. You know, I have a hard time imagining how I could be drawn away somewhere else, frankly.
What a great answer. Joyce, what keeps you?
Kind of a similar answer to what Kathy said. I just really enjoy it. I mean, I've made some good friends. I've learned a lot. This isn't the only organization I volunteer for, I will say that. But it's at this point probably my favorite. So, I keep doing it because I think it is worthwhile, because I enjoy the work and I enjoy the people.
Good answer about this is your favorite. Thank you. And Cliff, can you top that one?
My basic reason for staying with it is that I feel like I'm contributing to a great organization. We've been told by so many of our members that it's the reason they get up in the morning. And to feel like you've made a contribution to people's lives like that is very important.
That's a great answer too. All of you are giving such wonderful insights and reasons for leading to the next question. What does volunteering at Ollie offer to our members? I think I've already heard a few things. Cliff?
One thing that has been pointed out to me is that the Ollie organization is the largest volunteer support organization in Southern Oregon. That includes OSF. So, we must be doing something right. But the big thing for it to me is that by volunteering, we can keep our staff levels down. And by doing that, it keeps our costs down. We are one of the cheapest Ollie organizations in the country, which has removed a lot of barriers for people to participate who may not have been able to do it if they had to pay the full costs, or we paid our instructors or anybody else.
Absolutely true. Joyce, what would you tell somebody about volunteering at Ollie? What does it offer for them?
I think, this has really already been said, but it offers an opportunity to contribute to a very, very valuable organization in this community. And it also offers variety. There's a lot of different things to do. If technology is not your thing, there's many other things you can do. We have people working on the garden at the Campbell Center. I mean, there's just people, if you're into planning parties or events, there's lots of things that you can do in Ollie that kind of tailor make your job to your own interests. But above and beyond that, it's actually just a lot of fun. And I think, we're all at a stage of life where we got to be thinking about having fun and just doing something that makes us smile.
I love it. And Kathy, what would you say to a member? what volunteering offers here.
I don't know that I could say anything more than what Joyce and Cliff have already said. It is fun. I like working with the people I work with. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we're getting near the end of our interview. And before I wrap it up, I just want to ask if any of you, all of you, have one more thing that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about volunteering here, Ollie at SOU. Go for it.
The only thing I would add is a big thank you to all of the volunteers. As I said, without their efforts, this organization wouldn't exist.
Very true.
Yeah, and I would just echo that. I'm just seeing some amazing work on the part of volunteers, and it's a great thing, and we all benefit.
Thank you. Well, Kathy, did you have a comment?
Yeah, many volunteers make it a better organization. It's made my job much easier, when they brought in more people to help, and it's great. I can't say enough good things.
I appreciate these last comments because it really sums up everything about volunteering here and is a good way to wrap up our interview. So I want to thank all three of you and let you know that everybody at Ollie appreciates everything that you're doing. You're really important volunteers here. Thank you for your time today.